Hello, it's another edition of Politics Today on Channels Television, and you are welcome. I'm Charles Eruka.
And I'm Imana Amawe.
Well, on October the 1st, just about 3 days ago, Nigerians marked their country's 55th independence anniversary. 55 years down the line, we've seen various transitions in Nigeria, mostly dominated by civilian to military and back again. Nigeria perhaps witnessed the most significant change in its political history in the run-up to its 55th anniversary as a sovereign nation, the democratic change of the power baton from one political party to another. Now, the mantra of the now ruling All Progressives Congress has been the slogan, change. However, it goes without saying that change in Nigeria's politics has predated the APC because change is life's most certain constant. Therefore, change has characterized Nigeria's political landscape from day one. But that also throws up several questions. What kind of change? What has changed? Has anything really changed? Now, even if there may have been change, has it been genuine, profound change or merely artificial, cosmetic change? Well, tonight on the show, we'll be x-raying the changing political landscape of Nigeria and the issues that have characterized politics in Nigeria since independence.
Well, you can be part of the conversation by tweeting at us. The handles are scrolling on your screen. We'll be right back after this timeout.
For me, it was up to us to create whatever society we wanted, right from scratch. We'll talk about the legacy of the colonial masters, and we'll only talk in terms of the physical structures, the introduction into the mainstream of European world, commerce, arts, technologies, and so on and so forth. I mean, those were undeniable legacies, and these one had to take for granted. But in terms of the cultural being of the nation, we felt this was something which had to be constructed all over again because of the interruption which we'd had by this colonial legacy. Outside of that, I didn't really think much about the Europeans remaining part of our existence. I thought now we were really taking over.
I was very optimistic before and after independence. I had a vision of a great Nigerian nation, a leading nation in Africa.
We were all very, very enthusiastic, very, very hopeful for independence. Then, of course, it meant we shall be taking charge of a lot of things and doing things ourselves. And so one looked forward to independence with hope and aspirations.
I had hoped then that it would not take us long before we all would forget most of the differences that still are lurking around. I had hoped that Nigeria would be the real giant of Africa, that will be a force to be reckoned with, not only in Africa, but also in the whole world.
Well, I'm quite convinced they will soon forget this. Several countries have gone through this sort of problem before. The United States, for example, as a very good example. Do the people of the southern states hold that bitterness still against the rest of the Americans? Certainly not. And I'm quite convinced they will soon, the Igbos here will also forget about it. It all depends on how we handle them and how we treat them after these operations.
Well, welcome back to the program. It's Politics Today, and we are being joined on the program today by elder statesman Chief Ayo Adebanjo, a leader of the Pan-Yoruba cultural group Afenifere. We also have in the studio Alhaji Lima Galtima, a public affairs analyst, and Chief Godwin Owazirike. Well, he is a legal practitioner and also the president of Aka Ikenga. You're very welcome, sirs, on the program. Well, from what we just watched, it seems as if there's always, well, we know that everybody wants the best for Nigeria, but it looks as if there's always been that agitation, and there's always been differences between the North and the South. We heard General Yakubu Gowon saying at the end of the day, hopefully the Southerners, they'll forgive, there'll be a unifying factor you know, whatever happened during Biafran War would be forgotten. Before the independence, the Northerners actually were not in support of the idea of independence. The Southerners wanted independence. So it seems as if there's always been that issue of ethnicity and regional division. Chief Adebanjo, what are your thoughts on this matter?
Well, I think the whole thing started from how we were brought together. And I think if we are going to be honest and be realistic, all the question of change you are talking about is a change of the Constitution. We have been brought together without our consent, without any agreement, and we are now being forced to do things in a particular way that is not common to everybody. That is why our founding fathers, what they thought at anything that could bring us together is a way of finding a solution where everybody can develop at his own pace. The idea of bringing the country together with a cultural aspect of a section of the country shouldn't help us. But if you are conscious of these are the adversities, it's like when the late Sardana said, Dr. Azikiwe said, let us forget our differences. Sardana said, let us understand our differences. And that's our question. We are an heterogeneous society. That one we must be conscious of. We are different nations brought together by the British. Not necessarily with our consent, not necessarily with any agreement with us, but because they feel we must come together. And we have enjoyed it. There's no doubt about that. The question of being together is to the advantage of everybody. There's no one who will argue about economy of scale. They're a big country. But we're a big country if we live together in peace. And we are only going to live together in peace if everybody believes, oh well, I'm not being cheated in this organization. You join a club because you want to be, you want to take advantage of that club. If you believe in that club, there's no advantage for you, or you believe you are being cheated as a member of that club, you will be anxious. But if you enjoy certain advantages in that club, you will not do anything to get you out of the club.
Well, I would like to pick on something Chief Adebanjo said, and he quoted the Sardauna of Sokoto about understanding our differences. Now, Alhaji Liman, 55 years later, do we understand our differences?
I think Nigerians have gone beyond this issue of ethnicity. If you look at the outcome of the different conferences that have taken place within the country, and if you see the overwhelming support that this administration had, I'm talking about the Buhari administration and all that kind of thing, coming from predominantly the north and southwest, and even some kind of inroad in the southeast for the first time and all that. I think Nigerians are more interested in the development question right now. What is happening to the power sector, what is happening to corruption. I think there's this unanimity of view as to where the nation ought to go. Several conferences have been, and the outcome had been, like Chief has rightly said, I think there is beauty in the unity, in the diversity. How are we going to harness this for the greater good of the country? I think that's the major challenge contemporary Nigerians must face. And it appears to me, as you're saying, the expectations are very high. And suddenly, His Excellency President Buhari comes and says, look, I must be described as Mr. Go slow and steady. And I think Nigerians are asking, what Nigerians are actually looking forward to is far more robust in terms of the, approach to that change. There's this great yearning, having gone through all these difficulties. We still do go through all these difficulties in terms of, even as yesterday, there was a bomb blast in Abuja and another bomb blast in Maiduguri and things. But unfortunately, these are holding the development pace of the country, and so these are real issues that ought to be addressed if this country is to move forward the way we want to.